Ouch. Donald Trump was just brutally, mercilessly booed by a stadium full of people on live TV during the US Open, and this came after a pressure campaign behind the scenes to prevent people from reacting negatively to Trump. And this also comes on the heels of devastating polling, flashing warning signs for Trump and the Republicans ahead of the midterms. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, I saw this and I was like, this is definitely going to sting his ego. Okay, this is at the US Open. Pay attention to the Jumbotron up there because as soon as it goes from the American flag to Donald Trump saluting, the crowd turns. Did you see that? Catch it one more time. Pay attention to the Jumbotron again because they actually cut away. That's how bad Trump was being booed and heckled by the crowd. One more time. And as soon as they cut away to something else, the reaction subsides. People hate Trump. I mean, Trump is just objectively the least popular president in modern American history. If you look at Trump booed on Truth Social, getting all kinds of attention. Donald Trump just got mercilessly booed at the US Open. Trump just got mercilessly booed. Harry Sisson, Democratic influencer, talking about this. Ron Smith, holy shit, Trump mercilessly booed at the US Open final. Loud boos just erupted at the US Open. It's not good. He's not going to like this. As Variety notes, Trump booed at the US Open's men's final match. This is Variety. We'll take a look here. Let's see. Donald Trump returned to Queens, the New York City borough in which he grew up, for the U.S. Open men's final Sunday, and he got a Bronx cheer from the crowd. When Trump was shown briefly on the Jumbotrons during the singing of the national anthem, with the president standing in salute, fans responded with an audible cascade of boos, as could be heard on ABC's telecast. There also were some attendees who clapped. That came before the start of the championship game went through. And this is also interesting. ESPN is broadcasting the U.S. Open men's final on nationally on ABC, which aired the crowd reaction to Trump. So again, this was on live TV. The rest of the country, the rest of the world is seeing this. And this is the key part. That came after the United States Tennis Association sent a memo to media partners requesting that they censor disruptions or reactions in response to Trump. Quote, "We ask all broadcasters to refrain from showcasing any disruptions or reactions in response to the president's attendance in any capacity," they said. So this was a pressure campaign, perhaps even orchestrated by Trump himself. He pressured the organization. They in turn pressed the media to basically censor, hey, listen, we can't have people knowing, we can't have people reacting. There can't be any public record of how unpopular and disliked Donald Trump is. That is humiliating. The crowd has spoken. They're not happy with Donald Trump whatsoever. And I said this comes on the heels of some pretty brutal polling, okay? NBC has a new poll out. Trump's job ratings say negative. Americans express strong support for vaccines. Trump's overall approval sits at 43%. Yikes, not good. While 78% of respondents said they support the use of vaccines. Inflation and the cost of living are the top economic concern. 57% disapprove. So a decisive majority of Americans say that Donald Trump is not a good president. Americans' view of Donald Trump's job performance remained negative amid a flurry of activity from his administration on tariffs, immigration, and public health, according to the latest NBC News Decision Desk poll powered by SurveyMonkey. Notably, the poll shows U.S. adults expressing strong bipartisan support for vaccines, as Trump's Health and Human Services Secretary, RFK Jr., has moved to limit certain shots. The poll was conducted before Democratic and some Republican senators sparred with RFK Jr. over vaccine access during a contentious congressional hearing last week. Respondents said they prefer leadership with political experience over outsiders who will shake things up amid a second Trump presidency defined by sweeping and rapid change. So, folks, this right there, that's stunning. It's not just that Donald Trump is unpopular. We've always known that to be the case. It's the fact that people, for the longest time, have actually supported an outsider to come in, right, and shake everything up as opposed to the political establishment. Trump is doing so atrociously. He's driving people back into the arms of the establishment. Like, shit, man, you know what? Maybe Maybe competent people who knew what they were doing are preferable. Obviously, the establishment has its issues. We see corruption there too. The problem is Trump is not only an outsider who lacks political experience and knowledge, so he has none of the benefits of the establishment, he has all the worst qualities of them too, because as corrupt as the establishment can be, Donald Trump is objectively more corrupt than any of them. You take some of the most corrupt Republican and Democrats, or the Democrats and Republicans who are associated with corruption. I know a lot of Republicans don't like Nancy Pelosi. Quite frankly, a lot of Democrats don't either with respect to her wealth accumulation and the perspective that she's engaged in insider trading, that she's enriching herself off her position. Well, okay, you say she's corrupt. All right, fair enough. But Donald Trump has made $3.4 billion off the presidency this far into his term. And that's not counting the $5 billion he made off the WLFI cryptocurrency that's only valued at that because he's president. So he's made about $8 billion, at least on paper, between his first and now second term, 7 months in. So he's orders of magnitude more corrupt than Nancy Pelosi, but nowhere near as smart. So no wonder the people are like, shit, if I have to choose between this outsider asshole who has all the worst qualities of the establishment, but none of the best parts, I guess I'm going to go back to the establishment. Who'd have thunk it? Just over 4 in 10 Americans, 43%, approve of Jobs' Trump performance in the survey, similar to his standing in June, while 57% disapprove. Trump's weakest ratings are on economic matters. And again, talk about a reversal of fortune, because Donald Trump was perceived mimetically as this business genius, this billionaire real estate mogul who knew what he was doing. This guy had the most undeserved benefit of the doubt with respect to economic management, and he squandered it. He squandered it single-handedly. I mean, I've said for years, good or bad, most presidents don't have a lever that they can use to snap their fingers and make the economy better or worse. If they had the fingers to snap, their fingers could snap the economy and make the economy better, they would have all done that, right? Trump wouldn't have gone through the economic turmoil of COVID. President Biden wouldn't have struggled with inflation if all he had to do was just pull a lever. But what we have learned with Trump, there is a lever. Presidents may not be able to single-handedly make the economy better, Republican or Democrat, but what they can do is single-handedly make it worse. And that's what Donald Trump has done with these tariffs, right? He's not dealing with a once-in-a-century pandemic at this point, which is causing global inflation and global supply shock issues. He's just imposing these unilateral and ridiculous tariffs. And that's what's causing so much economic dysfunction and turmoil. He has single-handedly ruined his own reputation with this particular aspect of policy. Americans continue to give the president stronger grades on his handling of immigration. Stronger, but not great, right? Even immigration border security is polling at 47%, so even that's not a majority. The poll asked slightly different wording to different halves of the respondents. Those asked whether they approve of Trump's handling of border security and immigration gave Trump a 47% approval rating on those issues. But those asked whether they approve of Trump's handling of deportations and border security amid his administration's aggressive deportation give Trump a slightly lower 43% approval rating. On the issue, this is just not good. Voter enthusiasm will be critical in elections later this year and in midterm elections. The poll asked Americans to describe their feelings about the Trump presidency. Which of the following emotions best describes the way you currently feel about the actions the Trump administration has taken so far? Red is Republican, gray is independent, blue is Democrat. 49% of Democrats are furious. They're triggered. We are furious and we are motivated to get out and vote this asshole into the minority, or at least his party, in the 2026 midterms. You look at the other end of the spectrum, who are thrilled, only 27% of Republicans. Now, I would say that's still too high, but it seems like he's not even really, when push comes to shove, he's not thrilling most of his Republicans either. They still view him very positively, of course, and it's part of a cult. But the best he's doing among independents is neutral. Anything else with respect to independents, they're dissatisfied, angry, or furious. Thrilled, happy, satisfied independents, not good. Many more are dissatisfied, angry, and furious. So again, that's not good. Nearly half of Democrats report they're furious. 27% of Republicans say they're thrilled. The strongest positive response. Just 8% of independents report positive feelings towards the actions of the Trump administration, far lower than the 56% who report negative feelings. So again, a decisive majority of independents say they're not happy. As incumbents in Washington and would-be challengers look towards 2026, a majority of Americans say they prefer a politician, quote, who's an insider with the experience to get things done. 58% of all adults say they prefer an insider, compared to 42% who say they prefer a political outsider who wants to shake things up and change the system. So Trump has squandered that. As Trump has positioned himself throughout his political career as the ultimate outsider, 6 in 10 Republicans say they prefer a politician who's an outsider. Wow. Unbelievable. Yeah, folks, this is devastating. So you pair the visceral reaction that Trump is getting at the U.S. Open, again, despite a pressure campaign behind the scenes where the U.S. Open, the officials are like, please, please, please don't air this. Don't embarrass Trump. Don't embarrass the God Emperor. He's like a toddler, right? You have to dangle the keys in front of his head. You have to convince him that he's just a really special, he's just the best boy. He's the most special boy imaginable. You can't contradict that. And ABC said, fuck it, we're airing it. And you saw it on screen. As soon as his face shows up, it's just like mountain leveling boos. And then you take his face away and people are, oh, okay, I feel much better. Oh, his face, oh, he's back. Oh, okay, good. People just don't like the guy, especially in New York City. So that's humiliating, and we should delight in it, even as Trump's polling continues to slide. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.